faces. No worries, so many new faces, and really excited to share the work that we've been doing at the Yale Center for Environmental Justice. So you've already been introduced to me. I am excited to talk about this tool specifically that we just released, the New Haven People and the Environment Research Library. So it is a brand new publicly accessible online library for sharing research and fostering connections in New Haven, Connecticut. And I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean by that. And probably there's some more that we can come to understand what that could mean through our conversation today. So I hope to make this pretty interactive. Would love to hear your questions, and we'll likely be asking you for things as we do our walkthrough today. So, so please jump in. So the library is a functioning pilot that we'll be working to make a living resource over the next year. It's been 2 years in the making. We really wanted it to be something that felt good to use, that was populated enough to really have research that people could find in some key areas. But we're only scratching the surface of what's available at this point. And so this year we're going to be really looking to engage more researchers, students, community groups who we all know are active in doing research and in New Haven specifically. So I'll share a little bit today about why we made it, how to use it. We'll do a walkthrough together and who was involved in that. So why we made it. So our purpose really was to, we came up for the idea for the resource because we noticed there was a lot of interest in doing research about people and the environment of New Haven, particularly among students, but we know many faculty at Yale and other surrounding institutions are involved in this research. But some of it wasn't making it back to the community. And we know there's some, I'll speak louder, thank you. I'm always working on that, so appreciate it. We know that there may be some reasons for this. Some work that's done is meant for an internal organizational audience and may not be suitable for the public. Some of it is not shareable, but a lot of it is. And, even if the people who are doing it are sharing it out on their individual websites, sometimes it can be really hard to find. And so we really wanted to find a place, make a place where people who the research was about could find the research that was about them. Next, we wanted new researchers in the space to build on existing research. So they're able to find what's been done before and not duplicate efforts. They're able to find existing research partnerships that maybe have those strong ties of relationships already in place. So we hoped that this might avoid what we call research burden, which is when the same people and organizations in the community are tapped again and again and again for their time and what they know and sharing what they know about the New Haven community with researchers. We also hope that it will be a hub to connect researchers and community members. We really want to strengthen those ties and strengthen communication across those groups. We hope that researchers will find each other and realize, oh, we're working on the same thing here in this small area. Or I'm really interested in how your work relates to mine. But also community members, we hope that this will be a way for community members to say, oh, look, here's this research about my community. I'm going to look up who did it. And and tell them what I think about it, or say, here's a question that I really have about this, or a question I hope someone will come and do more research on. Yes, sir.
Question, my name is my question is the depth and breadth of the kind of research that is being cataloged, that's going to be listed, inventory. In the study, are you limited to one kind of research versus another? What is the limit, the depth and breadth of what you're trying to do?
Yeah, it's a great question. Just for our Zoom audience, I'll repeat it. So what's the depth and breadth of the research that we're trying to capture in this resource? Is that basically, so you're giving me a wonderful segue to my next. So it's in some ways limited. We're interested in research that was conducted in the last 10 years about the intersection of people and the environment. This could be research about things that happened 100 years ago, but that is currently being done, within the last 10 years. So it doesn't necessarily exclude historical research, but we want it to be newer research that's happening within the last 10 years. And I see you. Thank you, ma'am. The intersection of people and the environment might be a little broader than you think. Maybe I'll just talk about that a little bit now. So we have topics that I have to say that it's okay that it's being recorded. Okay. So we have topics about research and the people and the environment that you may not think of as environment necessarily. The built environment is a big part of that. Infrastructure, energy, housing, transportation, these are all part of our urban environment and really impact our lives and our lived experience. Also, community and governance, education, public safety, racial justice, environmental health. Here's some of the things I think we think about more when we think about the environment. Disproportionate environmental impacts, air, and then human health and well-being. So even accessibility and food is a big one. So we'll dig into some of these topics as we go through our walkthrough, but I wanted to respond to your hand in the back, ma'am.
Research on, especially talk about hating, high crime, poverty, and incarceration. Hating is one of the places that incarcerates more people than around the state. And I saw one that was research on that. And I did bring a couple of parts. I didn't know. So I was
That's great, and I would we'll make that a point to return to in our walkthrough. So thank you for that. For the Zoom audience, the question was, to what degree the resource includes research or reports about public safety and incarceration. You said as well. Okay. So we'll take a look at that. And I think this might be a good time to note, if you are involved in organizations that are doing projects in New Haven and you're publishing reports on your website and in other areas, you are very welcome. We see this as a resource that is for community groups to contribute to as well, because we know that a lot of groups in New Haven, I think, CARE is a great example, are producing reports about the work that they're doing specifically in housing accessibility across these topic areas. So we would very much encourage you to submit your work to this resource. And that will help all researchers know what work is happening out there and who's doing it. So maybe it would be a good time for the walkthrough. So we talked about research on people and the environment for the last 10 years, and that intersection might be broader than you think. We're seeing a little bit of that here. And there's a lot of ways to find what you're looking for. So I think I'll use, and I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't catch your name. Barbara Fair. I think I'll use Barbara's question here. What do we have here that is in public safety and crime? So we have a variety of articles. I think I can maybe point to some of these here. So once you click into a topic area you're interested in, like public safety, you'll see all of the resources kind of, there we go, organized by what we're calling media type. So articles, there's audio, the dissertations, events. Sometimes that's a write-up from an event. Theses, reports, and it looks like there's a distinction being made between types of theses, which may be confusing, but we'll have to look at that. One of the things that we learned through our engagement we had a very iterative, collaborative process for putting this together, including 5 community consultants that were paid to join us on the project. And one of the things we learned was that we really needed multiple modalities for the types of media that were included in this. And so we're still working on building up these podcast, audio, and also research videos. So this is also an important point. If you have an article that you want to submit, please submit it. But if you've done a research talk on that article or other related research in New Haven, submit that too. We want those videos in this resource too. So this is an example of public safety and crime. If you want to get back to the menu, you click on the banner. And I'm wondering if there's other topics that are on people's minds. Yes. Oh, great. And maybe we can, for our Zoom audience, we need to capture it.
Thank you. Accessibility reminder. The expansion of Tweed, its impact environmentally on the local residents, the loss of wetlands, that kind of thing.
Okay, great. So let's see where that might fit. There's air, and then there's wetlands that I'm hearing in that. So let's see what's in air. So we've got some research on urban green spaces, mapping asthma visits, but that's related to housing, environmental screening tool, and a study specific to the children in the Dwight neighborhood. So I'm not seeing anything on Tweed there. Yeah, Kevin.
So I think that actually raises some possible extension of this. Let's say you're interested.
Let's say you're interested on the wetlands impact of Tweed. This would be a good resource to go to see whether anyone has already done work on this, which is fine. But I think this could be an opportunity for community members to say, we really need to have research done on. Because I think that's what you're essentially asking. And making that available to the Yale community so that, let's say you had someone doing a master's at School of the Environment, that would be an interesting question for a thesis. And encouraging the communication to flow two ways.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that point, Kevin, because you're hitting home like one of the big messages that I'm hoping we'll get through is, you know, I will say this is the beginning, so we're still uncovering a lot of the research that's out there, but also students are starting new projects every year and they're very, very interested in what matters to community members. So I think we hope that this will be part of a bi-directional conversation and that as part of building the resource and continuing to find relevant resources, we might at some point be able to analyze this tool and say, where are the gaps? Yes.
There's a lot of topics here. I was wondering whether or not there are some thoughts around trying to make these a little more like visually enticing or some sort of annotation or summaries, because you may click on a link and then you're lost in walls of text. Are there thoughts to create some sort of summaries, you know, if they are ChatGPT generated, that can like make it a little bit more approachable for people so they know that they want to click into this PDF, or even like weekly features with maybe even discussions with the researcher if they're still around, and get some sort of dialogue that's a little bit more close to home?
Yeah, so you're setting up my discussion of what we hope to build this year. Some of that is already in place. We think those summaries, like kind of one-pager cover pages for especially articles, right, are critical because we want to reach a broad audience. Those articles are often written in academic language. They're not meant for a broader public audience, but a lot of people would find them really relevant to their lives. And so what we've included in our, I won't walk through it yet, but what we've included in our submission process is a link to a ChatGPT saying, please upload your paper. Here is the prompt to give the AI, and it will put together a brief one-pager in like, basically like 10th grade English. So that's an important part of it. And the interface is it's a particular challenge. We use the Eli Scholar platform because of its benefits in the way that it organized the research, and because it's supported by Yale, so it's a free resource for us. So we know that we can continue to support it. But there may be an opportunity this year to build on that and create a digital skin around it so that the landing page might be a little bit more user-friendly and visual. So that's in the works as a building on what we've started. Yes, sir.
Good morning. I was scanning through this platform. It's excellent, by the way. But I did see public safety and crime. And is there a way to bifurcate public safety from crime or have some derivative of it? Because all public safety is not in the criminal realm.
Yes.
But we've had overdose. We had a massive overdose in the city, 6 years ago. And there's information that we could be tracking. We're also looking at the numbers as the fire chief and EMS. We're looking at the number of calls that we're going to, not just for that, but public health issues. And so I didn't see a lot of that. So every time I dove into it, even when I found the word disaster, I looked for disaster, it still talked about gun violence. So I would just like to see something there, and I'd be more than happy to contribute something to that as well.
That's great. Yes.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. John Alston, Fire Chief, and I'm here with Assistant Chief Shakira Samuel, who's my right hand, literally. So.
Well, good morning. I'm so glad you made it. And it's a really great point that disaster might be more related to public safety. And this is good feedback for us to consider. Where does disaster live in this. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I think, you know, as we continue to develop this, because as I said, it's a pilot, this kind of feedback is really useful for us. So, but I'm curious, let's use the search bar. So this is another way to get around the tool. Oh, you can see my previous searches. Okay, so so let's look up disaster and see what happens. Yep, gun violence, gun violence. So, yeah. And so if we have, this is an area where I think, you know, that resilience, that resilience would be resiliency planning, right? Natural disaster planning, case studies could be really, really valuable. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to back up here. Oh, let's do that. I just wanted to see, though, too, we do have some health related things, but yeah, it's a really good point. All right, let's put tweed in the search bar. I have to keep track of my time. You guys are like full of great questions. All right. Also, you always want to search in this collection. Otherwise, you'll be searching everywhere in Eli Scholar. So please note that. So tweed, which you might want to do, but we've done a lot of that too. So there's some oral history projects, heat stress, that probably mentioned tweed in the article, but I think a good point. Yeah, thank you. So let me talk a little bit about some of the other ways to find things. You can also browse by origin. So origin is kind of a weird term for where the research came from. Let me see, there we go, right there. So we have split it into peer-reviewed academic research, so a very particular type of academic research. University-produced reports, so these would be coming out of university centers, programs, faculty, but not necessarily being published in academic journals. This is a good time to say, this is not just Yale research. We felt that it was really important as an institution to create this platform, to create some, to support and continue to build on the bi-directional conversations that are happening with researchers at Yale and to share their work. But we know in order for this to be successful, it can't just be Yale research. There's a lot of great research happening by surrounding institutions. So we've developed partnerships with Quinnipiac, with Albertus Magnus, with SCSU, Southern Connecticut State, with UConn, and I'm still reaching out to University of New Haven. Anyone from University of New Haven, we're really excited to connect with you. So to find the people there who are the connectors, they really believe in the resource, and they're going to get the word out to their academic communities the way that we're doing that here at Yale. So, so those partnerships are in place, and I'm very, very grateful to those university partners. So, you know, we're hoping that that will, you know, kind of cut through silos, not just here at Yale, but also across institutions. So you can look for university-produced resources there. Also, community-produced and organizational resources. This is when I was saying to Barbara, you can you can submit your reports as an organization if you're doing projects and research here in New Haven. And I think we're very interested in those, and we have some already included from like Data Haven, CARE, and some other groups already. Student scholarship. So this includes doctoral students, it includes master's students, it includes undergraduate students, and we've also had we also have a platform for high school students. When you click into those resources, you'll be able to tell what kind of, student, what category of student. But we know that there's tremendous high school teachers out there doing projects in the field with their students. And we wanted to give them a platform to share their work that they're doing too. So student scholarship, we're very excited about continuing to tap into the university community around that. And then government resources. This is an area where we really want to build out more too, and have already been reaching out to various offices in New Haven to get more submissions there. So that's browsing by origin. And then there's the media types. So let's say you're only interested in academic articles. So here's the media type. Or you're only interested in data sets. Or you just really want to watch videos. You can just browse by, here I'll do audio files because I know we have a lot of podcasts. We're still working on a lot of videos. You can browse by some of these audio resources as well. That way, if you know that that's the type of media type you're looking for. So you can also search by neighborhood, which is, I think, key for us and our purposes. So anybody have a neighborhood they want to take a look at here? A neighborhood that they're thinking about? Yes, ma'am. The Hill, okay. So we need to use quotes, okay? So this is the thing, quotes in this collection, and then let's look at the Hill. We have anti-poverty programs, urban renewal, heat stress, connecting New Haven or Union Station neighborhood to downtown New Haven, New Haven Farms, effective virtual civic engagement. So there's a variety, right? You're getting a pretty big swath of things that are happening in the Hill. But hopefully it will be a way of getting started in finding the people who are doing the research in the neighborhood that you're interested in. So for example, let's take, yes, the first one. Okay, great. So let's take this as an example, militants in the model city. Richard Lee, the Hill Parents Association, the limits of citizen participation in New Haven's urban renewal anti-poverty programs. And you can see the document type is the article. You can see when it was published, so it's really new. And then a short abstract. In order to get the resource, you just download it here. There's a couple things I want to say about when you get to this phase, when you're clicking into an article or a specific resource. Not all of them are available for download. We were not able to get to the point, and I don't know if we'll ever fully get to the point where we can make everything on here just open access. But we made a decision that we think instead of only including the things that were open access, we wanted to include everything so people would know what was out there. And then you can use your resources at the library, connections to find ways to access it. Email me, I should say. Find ways to access it if it's important to you. One way to do that is by emailing the author. So another thing to note is that you'll be able to see the author. And if you're interested in who, this is showing everything. If you click the author's name, it will show everything that they have in the New Haven PERL. This is the only resource that Lydia Broderick has in this. You'll be able to usually there's an institution name after the author too, so I'm not sure why that's not there in this case. So you will be able to see who the author is, what institution they're connected with, and that might be a better a way to connect to the research that they're doing if you'd like to reach out directly or you know, kind of get to know the people who are active in your neighborhood. Okay, I want to make sure we have time to introduce everyone who's been involved also. So the last thing I'll say is about submissions. So we need to go back to where we see the banner. Yeah. Okay, so submit my work to PERL. That's where we start the submission process. It will tell you, you need to sign up for Eli Scholar. It doesn't cost any money. It's very common to have to create an account in any kind of digital platform to be able to submit things. You can log in if you already have one. We see who is eligible here to submit work. And this was a really important piece. Any student, regardless of their level, needs the support of their faculty member, advisor, or teacher in order to submit there. So that needs to be approved by that person. Yes?
So, acronyms are legal. IRB outside the academic community. In the academic community, everyone knows what it is.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes. IRB. Oh yeah. So Kevin's statement was that IRB is an acronym that is only really understood by the academic community. It's not. It might need some fleshing out for. So thank you for noticing that. I'm taking notes as we talk here, as you can see. So eligibility, that it has to be people in the environment, high quality, we want good work in here, original work, that it protects the privacy of study participants, which of course is part of the professional codes of most researchers and would be a professional code that the faculty or advisor would be screening for, and we also screen for, and produced within the last 10 years. And then what you need to submit, you need your account, you need your final project file, whatever media type it is, podcast, article. You need permission to actually publish what you're publishing if it's a group work. And here we have one-page summary that communicates the main points of your work in words and/or images for a non-academic audience. The ChatGPT link is actually in the submission portal. So that helps people have a way to do that without a huge time investment. And then we review it before it goes live. There's a review team. I've had a tremendous team of research assistants review these. And then depending on what you want to submit, here are the portal links. So if you want to submit a video, you go here. If you have an academic article, peer-reviewed, you go here, report here. So, and if you are totally outside the box, you can submit something else. So we're looking forward to seeing what those are. But I want to, so we want your submissions. That's my big message. We want your submissions if you have research to submit. Also, it takes a community to bring a simple idea to life. This was a very simple idea that is very hard to do. So we're very grateful to all the people who were involved. We had many focus groups of faculty, staff, students, community, organizational leaders, and our community consultants. And I wanted to introduce Doreen Abubakar, who is with us today, who is one of our community consultants on the project. And Doreen, did you want to say anything about, Doreen is urban environmentalist and the executive director of CPEN, the Community Placemaking Engagement Network, and has done transformative environmental work and youth engagement work in New Hallville. So did you want to say anything about how why you got involved, what you think is important about this and how you're hoping to use it?
Well, I first got started because a lot of Yale students would seek me out to interview me for many different things because we do a lot of different working in New Hallville. We're working with environment. We're also working with health and wellness, all those issues. We started with sort of creating a program that was going to address the 8 wellness health dimension that happens. But anyway, when they would do these articles, I would never see the end product. And so I was asked, to be a part of this committee, and I felt that we really needed to work on something that a person like me could go to. The first example of it was, to me, very highly academic. I mean, it just, when you went to the page, you're like, oh my God, where do I find the information? And I sort of love what we've been able to do with the search button, as well as some of the main sort of categories. So we as community people, nonprofits, can look for information that that Yale may have.
Oh my.
Okay, that Yale might have worked on. So it's a work in progress. I liked a lot of the comments that people were making. Of course, for me, grassroots nonprofit, I gave my input, but I'm looking forward to how much this can grow. And also maybe adding to it just a request, because we in the community, we know what kind of information we're looking for. So I think something to add would be, what are some topics that some nonprofits are interested in knowing more about, and letting the students, as they pick their topics, maybe they'll see something in what we suggested, and therefore we can get, information based on what we're looking for.
Thank you, Doreen. It was, absolutely priceless, the input from our community consultants. Also, I wanted to thank our research assistants on this, Sandra Redjali, Amanda Glatter, Morgan Feldenkris. They really made this come to life, and I'm so grateful. Our funders were funded by, this was a, here, I'll give them a visual shout out too. Here we go. Here's everybody. You can see our community consultants' names now too. This was funded by a Yale Planetary Solutions seed grant and was a collaborative project between our center, the Yale Center for Environmental Justice, the Yale Center for Climate Change and Health, the Environmental Humanities at Yale, and also the Hickson Center for Urban Sustainability and URI. So it was a partnership from the beginning. And then many organizational and university leaders who participated in focus groups, interviews, to help us make sure that this tool was useful and usable to the audiences we wanted to reach with it. The point partners at other universities who are excited and helping us get the word out to their communities, and our advisory committee. So you can see our advisory committee members that are members of those centers that I named as partnerships. So, and a great thank you to Karen and Jennifer for inviting me today, and to you all for coming and bringing your great conversational questions. This, I know, made me feel very comfortable. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Kristin brought some great materials here for you to be able to sign up to their mailing list and also visit their website. We dropped the website in the chat. Kristin will also hang out for a few minutes to answer your questions if you'd like. Thank you all for coming. We are going to be at the Yale Art Gallery next month. If you're on our newsletter list, you'll get that notification. If you are not, please add your name to one of these handy papers that are floating around the room so that you can continue to get notifications. Oh, yes. And thank you all for coming. Enjoy, have a beautiful day today. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing? Oh, sure. Thank you. Sorry to say one more thing. There's also posters and postcards at the front. If you are part of an organization that has a community board, or you go to places where you think that you'd like to see this on the community board, please take those posters and postcards with you. They're for you to take. Thank you so much. Thank you.